I bear witness to your doctrine in entirety. So it wasn't a matter of we trying to fight off your doctrine.
Trying to work together.
But trying to hook up, because some of the same things you're talking about now, about Ethiopia, about the sun, and even etymology.
The 9 ether.
Yeah, 9 ether, the number 9 also, we've been saying for a long time.
Nawapo, you know about Nawapo and all those?
Yeah.
Those are the ancient sciences.
I just heard a tape about the Beni Elohim, the Elohim.
You are the Elohim. Believe it. And the Elohim that sits here are both good and bad, or simply agreeable and disagreeable. That's us. You know what I'm saying? And he is El. El is the, Elohim is the plural of it. You see that? El, Elohim. You are. That's why Yeshua said, is it not written in your law? He was saying, but notice he said, is it not written in your law? Because he was taking him back to Tiflin. The Tiflin is called, what you refer to as the Psalms, the songs. And what they would do, let me just want to finish, they would sing a song. The whole congregation would sing. And this will also address this young lady's question. They would sing the song of praise, and at the end of the song, they would say, Salat. So that's true, but they'd say Salat. Salat in Hebrew is said Sali. Sad, Lam, Lamet, and Hay. That's the Sali you see. That's like in Muslim saying, coming to Salat. Salat, Sad, Lam, Alif, Tamabuta in Hebrew is Sad. You follow that? Lamet and Hay. You ever notice that at the end of certain prayers it says Sali, which meant now it's time to get up to pray. And when they got up and prayed, they raised their hand toward the sky. You can see this amongst the Falashians today, in Habashia. Raise their hands toward the sky like you'll find on the walls in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. We raised our hands. What we did in ancient Egypt and what we did in Ethiopia and what we did in Sudan was the same. We didn't start looking down at fire until we got infiltrated by pale Arabs. And they taught us to stop looking towards Ra and start looking down at the ground. Everything, listen to this, everything that you know of that is healthy grows this way. Grows towards the sun. Not this way. You understand what I'm saying? So this was a major plot to remove one spell, Christianity, and reinstill another spell, Islamic. And it wasn't the real Muslim teachers, because the real Muslim teachers, they held their hands up. Somewhere along the line, people got in and they institutionalized Salat. And I said, let's go back to the Quran for what it's worth, El's Quran, and look and see in it what he says. And eliminate all the things that we're doing that he does not say. And when you do that, you eliminate looking down, because it's not in there. There's no place in the Quran where it says, put your hands on your heart and put your face down. My descendants did it, and they passed it on to me. And in your birth, it was passed on to you. You follow that? So that was step one. Right? Now we're moving on further to no longer worshiping, but becoming that which was worshipped. I'll put it clearer. And I'm not saying, don't fool yourself, unless you can create a gnat. Right? And if you get until you get to that level, I'm just saying, but we have to become who we really are. And that makes us responsible for the universe, because that's what we were created to be, caretakers. Do you hear me? And somewhere along the line, something got removed from us. It got removed in Genesis. If you look at the 4th chapter and the 26th verse, you'll see where it says, and the Almighty gave Adam and Eve another son to replace the other one, like and in the image and after the likeness of Adam. This son, Seth, was not in the image and after the likeness of Elohim, the angelic beings responsible for the replenishing of the earth. Read it again. It says, in the image and after the likeness of Adam. What state was Adam in the 4th chapter, which was after the 3rd chapter? Was he in a positive state, or had he sinned? You see that? So Seth's seed, meaning most of you, right, were descendants from, like Adam, who had sinned. Now I talk simple, plain common sense. When you take a little baby, I don't care whether it's black, white, or purple, do you have to teach that baby evil, or do they naturally take from other kids? Are they naturally possessive? You follow that? You realize that when your baby is hugging you and mooring on your hand and you're fascinated that what the baby's really trying to do is eat you? Do you know that? You think that when your baby's born on your hand, that's cute. Your baby is really trying to eat you. It doesn't know that you're not food. A baby will reject you, and you can say, here's a cookie, and a baby will come. That's a certain part of our nature. That same nature that took us to the tree. Adam's seed was not good. Hawa's seed was good. You follow that? Adam's name, originally, Adam's name, not Adam. Adam's name, because it said, and call their name Adamah. The word Adamah means of the dust of the ground. But in that same Torah, they give you the name of Adam and Eve when they say, male and female created he them, and call their names Adam. Now what is the name then? When they use the word male, the same thing happens in El's Quran. They say, Zakar wa Anthar. We created you male and female. Zakar wa Anthar. However, the word Zakar, Zakara, has nothing to do with being a male or female or gender. It has to do with the word to remember, Zikr. You follow that? In the Torah, it says, male and female created he them, and called their names Adam. Zakar wa Nakibu was their names. When you trace the Nakibu back to ancient Aramic, it means leadership and out front in power. And Nakibu was the female, not the male. Then Zakar was Adam's name. Adam doesn't mean that's his name. Adam means of the ground, a earth being, as opposed to a Elohim being. There was Elohim of heaven and Elohims on earth, physical ones and spiritual ones. If you want to see it, again, in the book of Malachi, right in the 4th chapter of it, they call them the Almighty Gods. Or they say godly. And if you cut back to your Aramic, you see they have in there Elohim al-Bashara. Right? Elohim in the flesh. Now, so you had Adam's seed, who's an Elohim, and you have Nakibu, who you call Hawa. And the reason why they call her Hawa or Haya, because it meant wind. You follow that? It meant the breath, the nachas that's breathed into a person. And the reason why they say that woman comes out of man is because man decides the gender of the child. Whether it's an XY chromosome, not that somebody snapped nobody's rib, ripped their chest open, that's not what's in there. You're talking about a replenishing of the world, not a creation of the world. Adam and Eve were not the first people on the planet for us. You understand that? I'll give you some simple reasons why. One is, we use a basic biblical concept. We have Cain, Abel, Adam, and Eve. Is that the basic Christian concept? How many people was that? 4 people. Cain kills Abel. He eliminates one of the people. How many people are left? 3. Who are these people? Right? Adam, Eve, and Cain. 3 people. Right? Now, when the Almighty addresses Cain concerning the killing of his brother, Cain cried that his penalty is greater than he could bear, right? And then he said he put a mark on him, right? A birthmark, exactly what it is, a birthmark on him. That what? What was Cain afraid of? Tell me. Anybody what? Cain was afraid that if anybody finding him will kill him. Could you tell me who was going to find him if there's only 3 people on the planet? Who was he afraid of if there was nobody else on the planet but him, his mother and father? It wasn't his father he was worried about. It wasn't his mother he was worried about. There must have been other people on the planet that he was worried about that would kill him. And when he left that land and went into the land of Nod, he encountered other people. There, it was already there in the Philians. Then again they say, the man should leave his mother and his father and cling unto his wife, and they should become one flesh. Correct? If these are the first people on the planet, who was that law for before it was said to them? It didn't say you are to leave your mother and father. It said a man as if the law was already set. A man is to leave his mother and leave his father and cling unto his wife, and they're to become one flesh. If that law was set, who was it set for if there was nobody there? And nobody else got married. You follow? And why is the word refill or replenish? Because in Hebrew or Aramaic, the word is bara. They don't use the word khalaqa. Yes, there is a Hebrew word khalaqa, meaning creation, and it talks about the original creation that took place billions of years ago. But Adam and Eve, 49,000 years ago, was a recreation, a bara. And look it up in Hebrew. You see right there, bara. And that means this, amongst the Elohims. And when you look up Elohims or heavenly hosts, you see that they say heavenly hosts or Elohim or angelic beings. You follow that? So if the Elohim were beings who came to this planet from somewhere else, I'm saying somewhere else so I don't get distracted by UFO conversation, right? Came to this planet from somewhere else, and they lived on this planet. They called them giants. It's right in the Bible. Giants were in the earth in those days, right? And Adam and Eve encountered living and dealing with these beings. These people must have had laws. Adam or Eve, one of them had to be living by those laws to know the laws. Who was he talking to? Adam or Eve, when he spoke about that? A man. The law is that a man should. He's talking to Adam. You'd like to believe that Adam was a good person. Adam was 7 feet because he was a Nephilian and an Anakite. His family had mixed in. They were part of the people called Path. Path are the original people of the planet Earth, pygmies. 2 people existed at the time that you identify. One lived over near the 2 rivers called Nile, or Nile, and others lived over near the 2 rivers called Tigris and Euphrates. You understand? And both of these rivers were fed from the Mediterranean. The only difference is when you look at the map today, you have a problem. You're trying to figure out how the water ran down the Nile this way and up the Euphrates this way. Correct? It ran through Greece and down through Babylon. How? Because it was before the planet was tilted off its axis. See, your planet has now been tilted on a 23-degree axis. So where Tigris would have been here, and the Nile would have ran there, down above, beneath the Mediterranean. Now it's sitting like this, so it looks like it's impossible. So when you go to a map, you can't see those 4 rivers that's flowing down, and you get confused. But if you go back to before the planet got shifted off its axis, you'll see how the... You follow? So this part is on the eastern end of the garden, obviously. And where would that be at? That's in the Persian Gulf. That's in an area called Or, which means flames in Aramaic or Hebrew. Or means flames. The city of Nod was in the midst of the flames. And what is flames called? What do you know flames as? As hell. You understand? Flames is hell. And there is where the giants, the wicked beings, live. And it's said when you get to Bereshit in the 6th chapter, that the sons of God, the first ones, those are not positive Elohim, those are negative Elohim, disagreeable. They took the daughters of men. You see the difference? The second time it says they went in unto. But the first time it says they took. That means they left the Euphrates area and went over into Egypt, where we lived at, the pygmies. You follow that? We didn't stand over 4 feet at the time. And the giants who came down stood over 7 feet. The normal height of a man, whether you like it or not, is 5 foot 6 inches. I'm not 5 foot 6, so that's, don't think I'm saying it because it's me. There's a perfect balance between the Elohim on that side and the Elohim on that side, because we created him in our image. And if they're 7 feet and they're 4 feet, the middle image would be 5'6". You follow? So now these wicked beings left their land and went over into Egypt, called Mitzrayim, today called Gen, back then Garden, and took women from all that they chose. You follow that? And that family that they chose that ended up on this side is where Adam, who was a descendant from the original people, that's why when you see the picture of Adam, he has wavy hair. He doesn't have 9 ether. He has 8 ether. There's 9, 8, 7, and 6 ether in our hair. Another question that comes up. How did Nephibo or Eve become light-skinned? That's because you want to convince yourself because you're dark-skinned that the first people were dark-skinned. It's very convenient. But genetically, that's just not true. Because 2 dark-skinned people can give birth to a brown-skinned person. It'll stay within a certain color range from Latino all the way down. When you get to the point where the skin is ghost-like, it's non-ether, it's ghost-like, it's transparent, then you've bred out of the Ethiopian people, the 9 ether. Adam's family were Pathites. That's the same path we read about in ancient Egypt, right? Who influenced Amun-Ra. Mixed in, was kidnapped, taken over there to live in that land. Thus, Abraham's family is born out of Ur Chaldea, not being born in Ethiopia where they belonged. And Adam himself was a mixture. He was a giant. He was 7 feet tall to the original Pathites of ancient Egypt. You understand? So he was influenced by good or bad. Or what should we say, agreeable or disagreeable? He was influenced by disagreeable people. Did Nachas? Nachas is a Torah word for the whisperer. There's no word serpent in there. It's Nachas. One of his names is Fabun. That's one of his ancient names. It means a snake. His real name is Samuel. Samuel, that was his name. But who did he go to? Huh? He went to Eve. He did not go to Adam. Why didn't the devil go to Adam?
Oh, he's already there.
He knew Adam.
He knew it.
What? Shouldn't it have been that he should have went to Adam and let Adam influence Eve as opposed to going to Eve and letting Eve? No, because Eve was of the original Pathites of ancient Ethiopia and was good. Adam's family had been living over at the Euphrates and had become influenced by evil. So the whole purpose of the breeding, or as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about, the graftation and the black and the brown seed, which is Hawa and Adam, was to breed the evil out of us and make us back into the image of the Elohim, so you'd have contact like